All right, what's going on, guys? This is Carroll from mymmanews.com and Carroll's Corner MMA podcast. Today I'm joined by Jess Capurso. Did I say it correctly? Capurso, my apologies, Jess. Jess, how you been? How you been right now? Boxing's been, I guess, canceled for you at the moment. Tell us how you are, how you're dealing with everything going on.
I had just finished my fight camp. I really finished my final run of the camp, and I texted my coach, and I was like, hey, do you think they're going to cancel this fight? And he's like, no, you're fine. It's 2 days. And then 5 minutes later, he texted me. He's like, hey, the fight's canceled. So I was like, oh, man. So, yeah, it's definitely been a weird adjustment because I went from we were training so hard for this, and then just the next day, everything's done. So I'm trying to still stay in shape and stay ready, but it's just different. I'm getting so bored of just running around the streets every day and not having, people to train with or like a bag to hit or anything like that. So I'm definitely missing boxing.
Absolutely, yeah. I'm sure things have changed drastically. You go from sparring probably for an hour or so a day, training, with different types of, with people and everything else inside the gym. Now you're just running, but you are doing running for a good cause, though. I saw you went running for you and a friend to help support healthcare workers. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so that was kind of just like a last minute thing that we had put together. We were trying to figure out ways that we could fundraise some money just to like do something for the healthcare workers right now. And it was hard to like come up with a fundraiser because obviously with the social distancing thing, no one could really be near each other. And I had seen on my own Instagram someone that I went to college with did something very similar. He was just asking people to pledge $1 for every mile that he ran. And I was like, wow, that's a really cool idea. Like, let me text my coach. So I texted Coach Christian, and I was like, this is what I want to do. I want to get Jonah in on it. Let me know what you think. So Christian was like, yeah, put it together. Jonah was right on board with it. So the next day we just kind of put the fundraiser together. We made a GoFundMe, and everyone was sharing it and everything. But we didn't really have any we weren't like training for that kind of mile.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, we both, had backgrounds, we're boxers, and, we try and stay in shape. But it was completely I ran 15.5 miles for it. Wow. Jonah ran 19 miles. So for me, I was like, I never want to run 15 miles again in my life. I'll stick to boxing. But it was still a cool experience. And we ended up raising over $1,200 in those 3 days that we put it up. So that was really cool.
Wow, that's impressive. $1,200. And, in a time where a lot of people are now out of work because of this, which is kind of crazy. So now that Ringmasters is put on hold, you did the charity event where you went running. It's kind of on a whim, which was pretty cool. What have you been doing to, I guess, stay in shape other than running? Is that really all you've been able to do, or?
Well, I still do like I do a lot of shadow boxing drills, and I still do a lot of calisthenics and stuff. My son's home from school, so a lot of my runs involve him in his stroller as well, which adds a lot of extra resistance. I made a heavy bag, so I didn't really think this through. The plan was good. I took just like a big duffel bag, filled it up with sand, put some ropes around it, duct taped the whole thing. Came out really well. The only issue was so I did this like a week ago, and it's killing me because the bag weighs so much now, and I was planning on hanging it in my garage, and my garage ceilings are like really high, and I can't lift the bag high enough to get it hung up. So now I just have it sitting there, and I'm like, I want to punch this so bad, but I can't get it hung up, and I can't call anyone over to help me because everyone's in quarantine. So
you got to get like a pulley system or something. Get a couple ropes and a couple of pulleys and pull it up there.
Yeah. That's actually exactly what I have set up. It's just I can't, and I have them literally laying right next to the bag, and I can't figure out how to use the clamps on the pulley. So I got to figure it out. I'll figure it out. But yeah, other than that, just been doing anything that I can. Shadow boxing, calisthenics. I've been running a lot. Just going for bike rides. Anything to stay busy.
Awesome. And leading up to this, right before the whole coronavirus mess took place, tell us how you were feeling going into the fights. I know you said you had a fight like just 2 days out, and then it got canceled. The fights I keep seeing you're in on the video clips and stuff afterwards. I just keep seeing you improve from each fight. Even when I was at Madison Square Garden from qualifying fights to the finals, I thought you improved drastically there. And you haven't been boxing long, for those who don't know. Tell us what you've been doing and adding into your regimen and your training that you've seen and helped you grow as a fighter.
Okay, so yeah, thank you first of all. I feel all around just more well-rounded as a boxer. So I felt really good going into this fight. Felt really good the whole fight camp. There's been a few differences. One of the differences that I would say is that I'm now fighting at my natural weight, which is really nice because the weight cuts were killing me. I mean, when I fought, and I think we talked about this last time, when I fought at MSG, I was fighting at 119, and I walk around at like 136, 137.
Oh, wow.
So it was a big weight cut. Yeah, especially because with boxing, it's same-day weigh-ins, so you don't really get the time to really refuel, and that definitely does affect your performance. So that's one thing. The second thing that I was saying is, I'm training under Christian Vasquez now at Strong Island, and I think that my training is just much more multidimensional. So last year I was focusing on, I really was new to boxing, so most of my training was dedicated just to learning boxing. And a lot of different things. I'm doing strength drills, like conditioning drills, obviously boxing stuff as well, but I've incorporated a lot more into that. And then I would say the other thing too is that Christian, just like the way that he coaches, he's very, very technical. So things that I was doing wrong that I didn't even realize that I was doing wrong, like Christian will see the tiniest things and like we'll spend hours fixing that one thing until it's perfect, which sometimes it's frustrating for me, but obviously at the end of the day, it makes a huge difference, like just the basic mechanics of boxing.
Absolutely. I think details, I know as a wrestling coach, like details, where your footsteps, where your hand placement is, everything like that all adds up and is crucial to success, I think. So I definitely believe details definitely grow and create talented fighters. Being that you have all this time on your hands, have you been watching more tapes, more film, more instructional videos, stuff like that, and trying to learn the small little details from other fighters?
Yeah, I have been watching a lot of videos, and I've also been watching a lot of videos just of even like amateur boxing and the people that I'm potentially going to be fighting. So obviously, once this is all over, whenever it is over, the Ringmasters tournament is still going to continue. They pushed finals back until I think June, and they pushed nationals back until I think August. So as soon as this is over, I mean, I was getting ready to fight 2 days later, so I'll probably be one of the first fights as soon as this is over. So I'm just trying to even watch the videos of my opponents, watch my own videos so I can see the things that I'm doing wrong, and just try and learn as much as I can in this time, even through films. This way, as soon as this is over, I have to be ready to fight.
Now, how much of this, since boxing and Ringmasters, the tournament, they really don't tell you when you're fighting. It's just kind of, hey, you're fighting now. You got 3 days, you got 5 days, something like that. How much of training is learning and technique training compared to training for a fight? Because there is a difference where you're learning to fight and then learning to fight someone. How much of that do you do? Is there a difference when the fights get closer?
So yeah, and I think one of the differences too, just in general between tournaments like this and then just like a regular show fight, like you were saying, like when you do a show fight, you know who you're fighting and you can kind of train to fight that person. So in a tournament, you don't really get to train to fight a specific person because you don't know who you're fighting until an hour before the fight. So you have to be just overall a well-rounded boxer. You have to be ready to fight any style. You can't just train and be like, hey, I know this person's going to bum rush in, so this is what my plan's going to be. You have to be able to just adapt to that style when the bell rings because you don't know what you're going to get. In terms of the actual fight camp for a tournament, this was actually a really intense camp for me. I loved it, but it was kind of long and intense because I fought, I think it was January 18th. So I had a fight camp leading up to that. I was training hard for that whole month. And then like a week later, Ringmaster started. So it was like training through December, January, took a couple days off, and it was right back to fight camp training. So it was long, and then when the end result was like, never mind, you're not fighting, I was like, oh, it's just like heartbreaking, you just stay ready, and then you just don't fight.
Yeah, I'm sure that's definitely heartbreaking. You put all that blood, sweat, and tears into your camp and then get told it's canceled because of something that absolutely no one can control. So,
exactly.
I couldn't imagine the heartbreak you're suffering from that. Now, since when we talked the first time, your goals and your views and whatnot were kind of just, I want to try it, see where I go with it. How have your goals changed, and where do you want to go with this from here?
I mean, I guess they're still kind of similar. I don't have an exact answer, but I think I'm getting like even more addicted to it than I originally was. So, like I said, I don't see myself stopping anytime soon. I want to keep fighting, and we'll see what happens. I mean, Christian and I have very lightly talked about the idea of one day, like, maybe having a pro fight just to do it. We'll see. But right now, I want to win the Ring Masters, and then I want to win the Ring Masters again next year, keep winning all the tournaments, and then see what happens.
What's your current record right now?
What is my record? Now I have 11 fights. I have 2 with Christian. So now I'm 7-4.
7-4? Yeah, it's a pretty impressive record for someone you've been boxing, what, 2-3 years the most?
Yes, I've been boxing. January was 2 years since I had my first boxing training, so just over 2 years.
Wow, yeah, I think that's impressive to get in there and start doing that for someone where you said you didn't really have any background in combat sports, and then now you're in there.
I had a background in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, but it's obviously completely different.
Yeah, but now you're getting in there, whooping ass and taking names, so which is pretty cool. No, what have you learned the most since your last time at Madison Square Garden to now? What have you learned most about yourself in the ring?
What did I learn most about myself? Well, I mean, I said this from the beginning, but I realize it even more now. It's just that, like, sometimes in the ring, I become my own biggest enemy. And, like, I'm learning to be so much more comfortable in the ring now. Like, even my last fight, I think it was the first time that I was fully, like, I was like, this is how I'm supposed to be. I wasn't nervous at all. I was super calm, like, went in there and just, like, had fun with it. And, like, it just felt so natural. And normally, like, leading up to fights, I get, like, really nervous. But I was so comfortable in my training. I was comfortable with the shape that I was in last time. I was just like, this is the mindset that I need to go in with boxing. Whereas opposed to when I was at MSG, it was such a psychological thing. I knew the girl had a lot of experience. I had cut so much weight, and I knew there was a huge crowd of people. And, like, I psyched myself out so much for that fight before I even got in the ring, which obviously as a boxer you can't do. So I think I learned from just that aspect of it is that, like, I can have my emotions before it, but when it's time to fight, I need to just stop whatever I'm thinking and, like, get into fight mode.
Absolutely. And then afterwards, after the fights, after you get in there, kick some ass, what's one meal that you're craving that you were cutting weight, a lot of weight for a while. What was one meal that I must have after I fight?
Every time after I fight, I get chicken nachos.
Chicken nachos? That sounds pretty good, actually. Chicken
nachos.
With the
so good.
The cheese and everything
on it.
And then I go
literally like a 1 week. But that's all right.
Wait, what was that? Sorry, it kind of broke up. You go on a 1 week what?
I go on like a 1 or 2 day like serious binge where I just eat like everything in sight, and then I gotta get back to being a normal human.
Awesome. I'm sure it feels rewarding though after all that time you're cutting all that weight, and then you get to eat something you absolutely enjoy. So, yeah, absolutely,
definitely.
That's awesome. Now, what are you gonna do for, say, since you can't get in the gym? Is your coach sending you like things to do? Is he saying, hey, let's today work on shadow sparring, today work on this? Is he kind of trying to get on the phone with you?
We're not doing like daily workouts. We definitely keep in touch in terms of like just staying in shape, and like we know that I have to stay ready. This plan has kind of changed a few times throughout this, because in the beginning, obviously, we didn't realize how serious it was going to be. So we thought that, like, okay, I can still at least like go in there and like hit the bags, or like we'll still be able to get like some one-on-one mitt work in. And then, we both kind of realized, all right, this is serious, and we both have families, so everyone's just going to stay home for now. We are doing online Zoom classes. So I teach them on Tuesday and Thursday nights, and then we have Christian obviously teaches on Sunday nights, and then we have 2 other coaches, Jonah and Dakota, that do them as well. So it's just half-hour workouts, but they're actually really intense. So I try to take those whenever I can. And those are just by donation. So it's basically just anything that anyone can donate to help out the gym, just to keep the gym up and running. Because obviously for small businesses, this is a really tough time.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's awesome that you're doing that as well, to try and help out the gym, because I know I spoke to another gym owner who's really fearing that he's going to lose his gym because, rent's due, and there's really no hold on rent and stuff like that, but you're not getting any sort of income. And I think it's different. I think people forget about the small gyms compared to the like the big chain gyms, like the Planet Fitnesses and stuff like the LA Fitness
Yep.
and stuff. So I think that's awesome that you're doing that. And the dogs are barking.
Yeah.
Now, so you do for like a half hour boxing, and it seemed like on Instagram you're getting a pretty good response from that. Was it just like cardio workout, or were you doing boxing? What was the workout?
So we're trying to keep it as similar to what our fitness classes would be in the gym, just without bags. Let me just close my door quick so you can't hear the dogs go crazy. So their workouts include calisthenics, obviously, shadow boxing. There is cardio stuff involved as well. And then we also work on technique too. So the beginning, we'll do like a warm up with calisthenics, shadow boxing, stuff like that, get your heart rate up. It's actually a really intense workout. And then like towards the end of it, well, this is my format of these, we all do it different. And then towards the end of it, I try and work on more just technique and do shadow boxing rounds with combo calls, work on the technique there, and then like head movement, footwork, and then just freestyling rounds. So we try and incorporate what we would do in the normal classes, and obviously we have to eliminate some stuff because not everyone has a heavy bag to hit or weights to, do extra training with, but it's still a really good workout. We had one of the guys that wears the heart rate monitor, just in the half-hour class, he burned like 440 calories, which is pretty good for just a half-hour workout.
Awesome. Tell us how the coronavirus has immediately affected you. Has anyone in your life been impacted by it at all, or anything like that?
Well, I mean, luckily, no one that I like am sick with coronavirus. It's definitely still impacting me. I'm not working because Jax isn't. Obviously, have to stay home with him. I know a lot of my family and friends that have been laid off as well, just because of this, which there's nothing you can really do about. But at the end of the day, luckily for now, everyone's healthy, so that's all that really matters. And I mean, as much as my son's driving me absolutely insane right now, it is nice to have some extra time and home with him. So.
Absolutely. And are you going to continue doing the workouts on what days did you say? Tuesday, Thursday?
Yep. So we have them every day of the week. Weeknights they're at 6, and then Saturday mornings at 11:45, and then Sundays at 8:30. We're going to continue doing them for as long as we need to. And honestly, even when the gym opens back up, we might just keep this as an extra option for people. We're doing private Zoom calls as well, semi-privates, and then the group classes. So for people, I mean, one of the cool parts about Zoom is that obviously you don't have to be local to do it. So we've had, I've had some of my friends from, out of state and everything jump in on them. It's cool. So we might continue. We'll see what happens, but, maybe continue to do this just as another option for people if they want, even when the gym does open back up.
Awesome. And how can people find those workouts? I know on your Instagram you're doing them. What's your?
We do them on live Zoom calls. So
okay. On live Zoom calls.
You go to
okay.
Strong Island.
Sorry.
Yeah. So we're doing Zoom calls. So if you go to strongislandboxing.com, you just click on the schedule, and then you have to actually sign up for the class because that's how you get the email link to the Zoom. But they are free. You just have to put in your email address so that you can get the password to the meeting. So I'm always posting stuff on my Instagram and everything, but if you just go to strongislandboxing.com, like I said, the whole schedule is on there, and the classes are just by donation, if you can, just to help the gym out right now.
Absolutely. There you go. If you want to get a workout with Jess, go on to strongisland.com, fill in your email, get the Zoom number, and then join the workout, and also help Strong Island Boxing. I think it's a great thing that you're doing that. Because like you said, boxing gyms and jiu-jitsu gyms, all sorts of combat sport gyms are really suffering right now from lack thereof, earning the tuition from students. So Jess, anything else you want to add in?
I think that's it for now. Hopefully next time we do this, we'll be getting ready for a fight or getting ready for MSG again. But...
Absolutely, yeah. I'm looking forward to seeing you get back in there and whip some butt. I definitely think you put on a pretty good performance last time. You can definitely see the strides you're making, and I'm looking forward to seeing you get back in there.
Thanks, Kyle. I appreciate the support.
Thank you. And this is Carroll's Corner MMA podcast, and we're signing off with Jess.
Thank you.